Howdy YouTube, and welcome to another episode of the Gunman Raw. So it's been way too long since I've done any content on this channel. Either way, we're going to get straight into it. Yeah, it must have been about 6 months since I've done anything, but you may notice I'm in a new shop. I couldn't have been bothered with all the attention and look at me, bloody new shop, blah blah, all the talking as much as anything, to be honest. So here I am in a new shop and I'm using PPG. And we're doing top quality work here, nothing but the best quality work. I'm not going to get into why I left, and it's none of your business. That's where I'm at with it. So either way, I've got this Havel in the booth. So that's a ute. I think it's made by like Great Wall or something like that. It's a Chinese made car. Are you okay for me to make a video? Are you shy? Yeah, okay, cool. This is my boy Shi Jun. So he's probably gonna watch the video too. So yeah, so we've got the PPG Envirobase color here. I thin it down correctly, whereas PPG Australia actually don't recommend thinning it down correctly. They recommend, what is it, like 15% thinners, whereas you're meant to go about 25 to 30%. So I just, as a rule of thumb, I just go 25%. All year round, 25% for any colour in Envirobase. Solids, metallics, anything. So this is a coarse metallic, so it doesn't cover that well, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. We may have to put an extra coat on. So this one here, I did the spray out card. I had to do 4 coats of colour on this. So we might have to do that. I did 2 coverage coats and then 2 drop coats. Like a normal metallic, like a fine or a medium metallic, 3 coats would generally be enough, but we didn't get too many cut through, so it might not be too bad. Basically, if you get sort of like 90% coverage on your first coat, 3 coats will be enough. All right, what am I looking for? This. Can you get, yep, a liner? So I'll put that bit of tape around there just to sort of keep any bits of flaking paint from dropping into the paintwork. 3 strainers, because Envirobase is quite gritty. I find it's like a latex based paint, and I was talking to one of the guys from 3M actually about the strainers and how this paint can be a bit dirty, and he reckons that because it's latex it can like contort and like push through and change shape, and then so what will happen is you can filter this three filters with a 125 micron, and then the next day filter it again and there'll be more crap in it, like more stuff in it. So that is really starting to slow down. That's generally when the filter's filling up. I just mixed up. So this car is actually a full respray. We're just doing the parts today. We've got the body. And we may even end up having to do 3 bake cycles on this job, but we will see how we go. So because we've got to pull the tray off of the ute, what do they call it, a well body, we've got to actually pull that off. We might not be able to fit the body of the car and the well body in, so we'll just see how we go. It's actually everything except for the roof. So it's like mottle all through the car, and I think it's because it's not covered. If you actually get this car like inside, you can't even see it. It actually looks totally fine on the inside of the workshop, but when you get it out in the sun, you can see there's mottle. So Shi Jun is, I've taken him under my wing and I'm teaching him how to paint. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a couple of the parts. So I'm going to do the bonnet and the tailgate, and he's going to do the parts. It's got to be easier just to wear my half mask. I like to wear my half mask just when I'm doing the colour and the wet on wet, but when I'm doing the clear coat, I'll wear the full one. So I like to get that all the way back up to that sealer line, so if there's any edge, it's going to be that next step in. So bear with us for a bit here, guys. I like to tack rag 1 million times, so it might get a bit boring, but this is the Gunman Raw. This is what you're here for. You're here for the things that I would usually edit out of a Gunman video. The boring stuff. But detailed things that are probably handy for people learning. Yeah, that's the primer color is too light. That's what you could see through to when it was in the sun. You could see that white primer. I'll come back to that. I've actually become a much better painter since I think so anyway. Since I've started here, I come up with some, I think, ingenious little fixes. I guess part of being a good painter is like being able to adapt and finding an issue and then finding a solution to it. We've got one little cut through there. Okay, so this, I think that needs a bit of a sand here. Can you feel that's a bit rough? Can you get a bit of 500 maybe? If I had realised there was all these cut throughs, I probably would have got some wet on wet. Yeah, just give that a sand. Just, can you feel, here is okay, but up here, can you feel that it's a little bit rough? With spray painting, your hands are your second set of eyes. If you can feel it, you'll probably see it. Is that smooth now? Oh, that's better. Yeah. I'm only painting these parts just to make sure the color's the same, because it was actually different. I mean, it was already different when the car came in, so rather than matching the rest of the car to these, we'll just spray them. Dude, that's getting hot. So hot. It feels like it's 40 degrees, but this booth can't even go above 30 on spray, so it's alright. I like to spray hot with Envirobase. But yeah, another good thing about over thinning it a bit, the colour, is it dries faster. That's actually basically the entire reason why I do it, because Envirobase, when it's too thick, it can look dry, but it's actually not dry. Like, it's still gummy, it'll stay sticky. Whereas the extra bit of thinners in there, that will dry it out properly. So here we go. Not too wet, not too dry. That's actually covering not too bad, because there was a cut through there, but I covered up straight away. Okay, 3 coats will be enough. I know it will be. That's good.
only do one coat on the edges, so I'll just do the second coat on the edges, the first coat on the face, second coat on the face down the edges, and the third coat on the face. We're going to have to be extra careful, keeping an eye on any sanding scratches, where the repairs are. If we find any, we'll fix them. I saw there was a see-through spot, so just make sure they're covered on the first coat. Just putting a little bit extra there. Alright, that's your turn.
A little bit slower, a bit wetter, a bit more. Watch out behind you. A little bit wetter, more, a little bit more paint. That's better. Here, more. You have to watch, always watching your edges, man. We need coverage. See that? That's see-through there. So you want to go like this. A little bit wetter on your first coat. Second and third coat doesn't need to be like this. But your first coat needs to be a bit wetter. I'll show you, like this. Alright. That should be, oh yeah, it's drying down, alright. Like I say, anywhere I'll put those repairs, I'll just spend a little bit extra time. Look, there was a repair right here, that's why I'm saying that. But just in case you've missed a block mark specifically on these silvers. But it's looking quite clean actually. I gave this booth a little bit of a clean out this morning, so I redid the spray booth coating on there. It was getting a bit dirty, and just gave it a hose out with some water just around the walls and the floors. So yeah, all those little things sort of help keep your jobs clean. Even take notice how I set these parts up so they're in the middle, so that you're sort of spraying in the middle to keep the walls clean where possible. Not always possible, but alright, it's going to be about my turn again soon. So if you had have gone that wet with 15% reducer, that would take forever to dry, and it just wouldn't dry properly. This stuff, even with 25% reducer in it, still can stay a little bit gummy and sticky. It's not like the Stando blue, whereas once it's dry, it's dry. And I think that's a big part of the reason the Stando blue will hold a better gloss. But yeah, like it's one of those things, you've got to manipulate this product a little bit more. You can definitely make it work, but it does require a little bit more manipulation. All good? Okay, so now for the second coat, because this is a silver, we're gonna have to wind that fluid in half a turn, okay? And we will lower that pressure just a little bit, down to about 20 PSI, about here. So I'm gonna do the edges on this coat.
That's about dry. And because those edges are already silver, that's all this is gonna need. It's just a quick coat. So you don't need to overload the paint on your edges. You still want a little bit there, but not so much. Just making sure that that's drying down before I go on with my next coat. So I'm putting less on this coat. We've already got our coverage. Now we're just, I guess we're still finishing the coverage a little bit, but we're mainly kind of getting that effect right. So we're not having any muscle. The reason I've got this on this sand is I've found you get cleaner jobs when it's upright, especially on your bonnet. Looks like we're going to have to do a top up on that colour soon. Yeah. I'm just wondering if I'll even make it. We'll try. Probably just make it. Bottom edge too. That's probably a little bit too wet down there. I could probably go speed up a little bit. Alright, we just made it. Cool. Alright, now we've got to do a top up, a little bit more colour. We'll get a new filter, put that in the rubbish, please. Three? Yeah. I just mixed up 2 litres because I know I'm going to use it. Slow, isn't it? All that grit clogging up the filter.
your turn. A drip, did we get a drip? Take note, we've only got microfibers here too, so we don't use the cotton cloths. We found they were getting dust in here. We had a bit of a dust issue at one point. Just, I was getting way too much dirt in my jobs. And to be fair, part of it was because it was Soul Red Crystal, which is not an easy color to paint, and it requires, I think it's like about 8 or 9 passes. So by the time you do your wet on wet, 3 coats of color, 2 coats of candy, 2 or 3 coats of candy, and then another 2 coats of normal clear. It's what one of the paint reps he even said, like, you just imagine it, every time you do a pass, you might drop one bit on, you know, you might drop, or you might add sort of one little bit of dust to it. You do your best to stay clean, but every time you're sort of visiting a panel, yeah, there is that potential to add a bit of dust to it. And when you're doing that many passes, he said, you know, don't feel bad about it, man. It happens to everyone on those, especially when you're doing resprays. Looking good. So I came up with this ingenious plan to, because they were candies, right? You put your wet on wet down, you put your 3 coats of color down, you then put your 2 coats of candy down, you'll bake that candy, and you're in this window, right, where it's still early enough, it's still fresh enough that you'll get your chemical adhesion, but it's also dry enough that you can denib it with a bit of 1200. So what I'm doing now is I'm putting that candy down, baking it, denibbing any spots in it, blowing it down 1 million, like just really, really good blowing it down, tack ragging it like 3 or 4 times. I'll then go and get the clear coat, 2 coats of clear, and they'll come out mint. So I've really unlocked somewhat of a cheat code in spray painting. And another beautiful thing about that is that, because I was saying before, a lot of the dieback you get is actually from your base coat, right? It'll just pull that clear coat in. So because you put your 2 coats of candy down with the clear coat, it'll pull those layers in, and you baked it. Then you're putting another 2 coats of clear over the top. You'll actually, it's like flow coating. So a big part of flow coating is like why they look so good is because you don't have that pullback from the base coat. So yeah, I was even thinking I could do that on this. You know, I could put 2 coats of sprint clear, very thin sprint clear down, any nibs, nib it, and then it's like you're flow coating, and you'll yeah, be left with a superior gloss. I think I might do that on my Tiranas too when I paint that. Either way, we're about ready for the last coat now. Isn't this good, mate? Somebody else doing the work for me. Ready? Okay. Enough paint in there? Yeah, I think so. So as we go, each coat is quicker, right? We turn the pressure down. So this coat here, we will leave the fluid the same. So first coat is full, yeah? And then second coat is half a turn in on the fluid. But third coat, we leave it. We don't touch this one, but we do turn the pressure down just a little bit. So second coat is just a bit above 20, and third coat is just a bit below 20, okay?
Hold the gun back. You see I pull the gun back a little bit?